En alvorlig infektionssygdom har ramt plejehjemmet Solgården i Sorgenfri.
Politiet har i samarbejde med embedslægen etableret et midlertidigt kontrolområde og henstiller til at...
Og en opsummering. Der er blevet iværksat en beredskabsplan for Sorgenfri.
Hvor mange døde drejer det sig om på nuværende tidspunkt?
Det kan jeg ikke udtale mig om.
Bringing you a 2015 Danish post-apocalyptic zombie film, Sorgenfri. This is a picturesque countryside town where residents live in peace and comfort. But they have no idea that a mysterious virus is about to destroy everything. At first, the local news reported that a mysterious virus had appeared in a nursing home in Sorgenfri, leaving 8 people critically ill. No one paid much attention to it. It wasn't until a few days later, when local public service departments no longer had time to handle car accidents, that people started noticing something was wrong. Meanwhile, residents learned from the news that their town and the surrounding cities had been declared a quarantine zone. That night, in one of the town's houses, an elderly woman was attacked by her own husband. Not long after, the sleeping townspeople were awakened by noises from the streets. That was when they saw heavily armed personnel pouring into the town.
Træd tilbage ind i huset!
Hvad sker der?
Ind i huset!
Kan I ikke forklare os, hvad der foregår?
Træd tilbage ind i huset!
Du kan ikke stå og true mig, mand! Hvad er dit navn?
Ind i huset! Nu! Afsted!
Og en opsummering. Der er blevet iværksat en beredskabsplan for Sorgenfri, da en ukendt sygdom, sandsynligvis en virus, har medført et ikke nærmere kendt antal alvorligt syge og døde i området.
This man is Dino. He has a loving wife, a son, and a daughter. At this moment, his eldest son, Gustav, wants to know why the radio isn't announcing the exact number of deaths. Dino tells him a story about a past event. Back in the 1980s, a stadium stand collapsed. The panicked crowd desperately tried to escape, resulting in a deadly stampede. Dino believes that if people had stayed still, fewer would have died. And now, the authorities are keeping information controlled to prevent mass panic. But Gustav sees it differently. If the stand collapses, people have to run, otherwise they'll be crushed. Dino is left speechless, but still insists on looking at things from a positive perspective. Not long after, the roar of an engine echoes through the streets. A family tries to escape by car, but is ultimately attacked. The next morning, a full-scale disinfection operation begins in the town. Meanwhile, disease control personnel go door-to-door checking residents' mouths. All infected individuals are taken to a temporary field hospital for centralized treatment. Days pass. A hastily assembled team of experts works tirelessly to find a cure. People long for a breakthrough. More than that, they long to leave their confinement and return to nature's embrace.
Hvornår regner I med at have fundet en kur?
Lige nu findes der ikke nogen specifik behandling.
Af hensyn til ofrene og deres pårørende har vi valgt ikke at vise billeder af patienterne.
Elsewhere, Dino's friend Casper is trying to convince his girlfriend, Anna, to stay. But Anna had only one thought. She wanted to leave this town. The moment Anna opens the door, 2 gun barrels are pointed at her. She tries to reason with the soldiers, but they refuse. Hysterical, Anna is pulled back by Casper. The next moment, a storm of bullets flies through the door. Fear instantly sobers Anna. To ensure the residents stay isolated, the entire town is cloaked in black tarps. A young couple gazes deeply into each other's eyes. After a simple farewell, their world is swallowed by darkness. To ease the monotony, Dino's family watches old travel videos. The blue sky, the endless sea, and the free ocean breeze seem to seep through the screen into their dimly lit home. Unknowingly, a month passes in quarantine. Their daily rations consist of a bucket of drinking water and a few packs of instant meals. Despite everything, Dino still believes the crisis will soon pass, but reality is often cruel.
En måned er der blevet forsket intensivt i virusen, men uden resultat. Prøven er i øjeblikket ved at blive analyseret i USA. Og lige nu er specialister fra det russiske Center for Virologi og Bioteknologi, det hedder Vector, ved at etablere et mobilt laboratorium nær Sorgenfri. Isolationszonen er nu også udvidet til at omfatte den nærliggende by Virum, og det kan ikke udelukkes, at Lyngby også bliver føjet til.
A few days later, the town's internet collapses, cutting off all communication with the outside world. Gunshots ring out daily, unsettling the residents. Casper takes out his hunting rifle. Meanwhile, Gustav secretly tears a small hole in the black tarp. He sees a group of armed men storm into his girlfriend Sonia's house. Hot-blooded and impulsive, Gustav rushes toward the door, only to be stopped by his father. Dino wants his son to understand that they can do nothing but follow orders and stay inside. They argue, but Dino's words remind Gustav that he still has a mother and sister to protect. In the end, under Dino's persuasion, Gustav gives in. But Dino never expected that later that night, Gustav would secretly tear open the plastic barrier and sneak out. He evades patrolling guards and arrives outside Sonia's window. After confirming that his girlfriend is safe, he heads toward the school, now a temporary command center. Gustav wants to find out what these people are really doing. He sees infected individuals from nearby towns and cities being herded into buildings like livestock. Soon, he discovers a bulldozer, its scoop filled with bodies. At that moment, he finally realizes how deadly this virus truly is. Before leaving, Gustav opens the back of a truck. A corpse tumbles out. The noise alerts the nearby guards. Alarms pierce the night sky. Gustav doesn't dare to look back. Sparks from bullets flying past him tell him one thing. A moment of hesitation could cost him his life. At the same time, the truck's cargo door slowly pushed open from the inside. Moments later, gunfire erupted inside the temporary command center, followed by terrified screams and horrifying growls. In town, the security forces did not send reinforcements. Instead, they sped away in military vehicles, abandoning the townspeople to their fate. Meanwhile, Casper noticed the withdrawal and desperately called out for Anna, eager to share the good news. But there was no response. When he finally found Anna, she was already in a car ready to escape. She had abandoned him. When Gustav returned home, Dino was already waiting at the door. Gustav told his father that everything on the news was a lie. Before Dino could respond, Gustav called Sonia and Maria inside. Dino was stunned by their sudden appearance. Though he disapproved of them coming to his house, he softened when he met their eyes.
Det her, Dino, det vi vil have tilbage med. Og ikke en skid andet.
Jamen, så må vi dele det, vi har.
Og hvad nu, hvis de er smittet? Hvad nu, hvis de kommer og henter os, fordi at de er her? Har du tænkt på det? Eller er du fuldstændig tomgang op i dit hoved?
Hun ser sådan der ud, fordi hendes mand gik amok på hende i en feberhvilelse og sparkede ned ad en trappe.
Ja, og ved du hvad, jeg synes også, det er rigtig, rigtig synd for hende. Men ved du hvad, hvis de ikke er smittet, så synes jeg ærligt talt, at de skulle til at skride over til deres eget hus.
Okay, værsgo, gå op og sig det til.
Nej, ved du hvad, det synes jeg ærligt talt, at du skulle til at gøre.
Har du tænkt på, hvis det var Gustav eller mig, der havde det sådan, som var alene? Har du tænkt på det?
Jamen, det er det ikke.
Nej, det kunne det.
As Sonia sat quietly, listening to Dino and his wife argue, Gustav entered the room. This made Sonia feel even more awkward, but she had no choice. She couldn't leave. Her father had been taken away after getting infected, and her mother had been scratched by him. Looking at the fragile Sonia, Gustav gently reassured her. Whether intentionally or not, Gustav didn't tell his parents about the wound on Sonia's mother's leg. Not long after, Casper arrived at Dino's house. He had originally planned to leave on foot, but he was attacked by a group of people. No matter how many times he pulled the trigger, they wouldn't die. For safety, everyone began reinforcing the doors and windows. Meanwhile, back in her room, Sonia noticed that her mother's leg wound had worsened. The sudden turn of events left everyone restless. By the middle of the night, Gustav and Sonia, who were on watch, stood at the front door. They noticed that when the streetlights came on, several infected emerged from the darkness and moved toward the light. At that moment, one of the infected slowly approached them. Gustav urgently told Sonia to turn off the light. The next second, the infected stopped moving. Losing its target, it slowly turned and walked toward the street lamp. Just as Gustav was relieved to have discovered a way to lure the infected, a figure suddenly appeared at the front gate. Anna had returned. Casper stared coldly at the woman who had abandoned him. The others also wanted to know what the outside world was like.
Jeg nåede op til motorvejen, så har de afspærret den. Det er helt kaos. Det værste var, at der var en lille pige midt i mængden. Og de overfaldt hende. Jeg kunne ikke gøre noget. Jeg måtte bare løbe.
At that moment, everyone felt a heavy weight in their hearts. There was no hope. There was no future. Sonia lay in Gustav's arms. That night, she decided to spend a romantic evening with him. The next morning, everyone sat in silence, eating what little food remained, wondering how they would survive. Just then, Maj said her pet rabbit was missing and asked her father to help find it, but the rabbit had already been eaten. To cover it up, Dino lied and said the rabbit had run away. To comfort his daughter, he promised that once the crisis was over, he would buy her as many rabbits as she wanted. But Maj only wanted her rabbit back. Gustav looked at the pieces of meat on his plate and realized the truth. Dino decided it was time to leave town. He and Casper walked onto the street. The once lively and peaceful town was gone, replaced by devastation. Meanwhile, Sonia's mother had lost all vital signs. Elsewhere, Dino and Casper reached the town's edge only to find a massive wall blocking the way out. Abandoned vehicles were piled up and corpses were scattered everywhere, especially beneath the wall. Countless lives had ended there.
Der skydes på kommando. På en tælling for 3. 3.
2, 1. Back home, Pernilla opened her son's bedroom door. She hadn't meant to disturb them, but Maj was missing. Mother and son hurried outside to look for her. Seeing the dismembered bodies on the ground, their anxiety grew. At the same time, Dino and Casper, after narrowly escaping danger, arrived at the abandoned command center. They hoped to find supplies to help them survive, but the place had already been looted. Just as they found nothing, a woman appeared, carrying a box of food. Before Dino could ask her anything, a noise came from nearby. Casper and Dino rushed to check it out. The moment Casper opened the door, he was dragged inside. Dino immediately followed, but what he saw left him frozen. He had wasted his one chance to save his friend. Suddenly, a large horde of zombies appeared in the distance. At that moment, Dino had only one thought: escape. He abandoned his lifelong friend and fled with the woman, barely escaping the zombies. The woman wanted to take the food home. She had 2 young children waiting for her. But Dino refused. His family needed food too. In the end, under Dino's threat, the woman was forced to give up all her supplies. On the other side, Sonia and Anna trembled as they hid inside the house, hoping the others would return soon. They had no idea that Sonia's mother's corpse had already come back to life. Meanwhile, Maj was still outside, searching for the rabbit she would never find. Dino and the others had never told her how dangerous the outside world had become. She naively greeted a former neighbor. The moment the neighbor turned their head, Maj's scream echoed throughout the entire town. On his way home, Dino instantly realized it was his daughter's voice. He dropped the supplies and sprinted toward the sound. Gustav reached Maj first. He desperately attacked the creature, hurting his sister, completely unaware of the danger his mother was in. At the critical moment, Dino arrived, but it was too late. Maj had already been bitten. More and more zombies gathered around them. Though Dino's family managed to escape, they had also drawn the horde straight to their home. Back at the house, Gustav ran to the room where Sonia's mother had been. Just moments ago, Sonia had ended her transformed mother's life with her own hands, but the crisis was far from over. A guttural roar sounded behind Dino. He turned to see Anna, now a zombie. As Dino raised his gun, Anna lunged at him. When it was all over, Dino walked into the living room. He had made up his mind. He would end Maj's life himself. As a mother, Pernilla refused to let him do it. She screamed at Dino in anger, but it did nothing to change his decision. At that moment, a swarm of zombies broke through the door. Just as Dino slammed the door shut, Pernilla grabbed Maj and ran into the bedroom. Meanwhile, Gustav and Sonia climbed out through the second-floor window. Looking down at the horde of zombies, Gustav lit a flare and threw it. In an instant, the zombies' attention shifted toward the flames. Gustav and Sonia seized the opportunity to escape the horde's grasp. At the same time, the bedroom door was forcibly opened, and Dino appeared once again, determined to take care of Maj. As Pernilla fell into despair, Maj suddenly opened her eyes. In that moment, the desperate mother made a final decision: to stay by her daughter's side in another form. Dino stared at his slowly turning daughter, unable to pull the trigger. But he had no desire to become one of them. When he finally decided to end his own life, he pulled the trigger, only to realize the gun was empty. In the end, even this disaster couldn't tear them apart. Elsewhere, Gustav and Sonia ran into the endless forest. They had no idea what awaited them ahead. They didn't know if there was anywhere safe left in the world, but none of that mattered. What mattered was that they had survived. In the final scene, the camera pans outward, revealing columns of smoke rising from different parts of the town. The sound of air raid sirens fills the air, along with the whistling of falling bombs.